Motorhead Garage, the program that each week introduces you to and shows you how to install the latest in exciting and innovative products for your vehicle. Now here's your host, Dave Dobson.
This is Motorhead Garage presented by DragonFireTools.com. And this is a Ram 1500 with a 5.7 liter engine. These things are incredible. You see them everywhere. They're stalwarts of the truck industry. But there's one Achilles heel, and I've got Shane Harder from BD Diesel on the line here. Shane, what's a problem that creeps up with these 5.7s?
There's a couple, but one of the main one, as you mentioned, is what people will commonly refer to as the Hemi tick. The cause of that is a warping manifold, and due to heat cycling, it'll often break a stud, and you're hearing that exhaust escape between the manifold and the cylinder head.
Now, if you let that continue, if you hear that Hemi tick and you just let it fester, what happens?
You'll eventually warp the manifold so bad that you'll start breaking additional studs.
BD Diesel, you guys have come up with a solution. And first I've got to ask, okay, you're working on this engine, but it says diesel in your title. So what are you guys doing messing with a gasoline engine?
Yeah, hey, well, these days BD, I guess, could stand for Beyond Diesel. We've made exhaust manifolds and those kinds of things for diesel pickup trucks for years. We noticed more of these late model pickup trucks having these problems, manifold problems, you know, and especially the turbocharged late model pickups like the F-150s. We know that world. We know pickup truck exhaust manifolds, so we decided to expand to develop these manifolds for the gasoline pickup trucks.
And let's talk about the solution then for the Hemi tick here. This is pretty brilliant.
So as I mentioned before, the primary problem is the manifold warps and cracks. So like I have, I drop parts, I have a real dirty, old, crusty, warped Chrysler manifold here. And this whole surface here gets a big bow to it. It blows out at either end, usually at the collector, what's called the collector end or the outlet end. So what we did, we developed these guys. So they're a thick uniform wall casting, and they have nice machined bolt face locations, which is really critical because a lot of the OEM and factory aftermarket stuff just has a raw casting. That can lead to bolt clamp load problems where the fastener actually wants to remove itself. And then one of the big things that we like to do with all our manifolds is we put on spacers underneath the bolt head so we can run a longer fastener. So this fastener is 15 millimeters longer than the factory fastener. And what that allows the joint assembly to do is to absorb that heat expansion and contraction. You have a longer fastener, think of it being like a rubber band, right? You have a short little rubber band, if you try and stretch it an inch, you'll probably break it. But if you have, you know, let's exaggerate, you got like a 10-foot rubber band, you try to stretch it an inch, it's totally gonna be fine. They have some elasticity and you rely on that to hold the manifold onto the cylinder head.
So you're making it's a double whammy. You're making a better manifold, but you're also allowing it to move and flex, which helps you two ways.
Exactly.
Cool. So now, Shane, what years and what body styles are we talking about here?
Yeah, so there are two body styles, and we have two kits to cover all of them. The year range is 2009 to current, but the caveat is, in 2019, Ram started building two separate trucks. The 2009 to 18 body style, and that's this kit over here. And they started building the new DT, or new body style truck, which is what we have here.
What comes in the kit then, if I buy the manifold kit from BD Diesel?
Yeah, well, the manifold kit comes with everything you need to install on a truck. You got manifolds, all the hardware, spacers, and fresh gaskets to go between the manifold and the cylinder head.
Excellent. And is this something that I can DIY in the garage, or do I need to take this to a pro?
I think if you're experienced in the driveway, all of it is accessible via the fender well. If you gave yourself a good full day, you could probably get it done in the driveway.
So what do you guys have brewing there besides this?
Oh, tons. We're always looking for new opportunities in the exhaust manifold market, turbochargers, and transmissions. And that includes the 1500 or F-150 kind of market for half-ton trucks in the gasoline scene. So.
Very cool, Shane. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for the education. You can buy this kit from BD Diesel. You can buy it directly from their website, bddiesel.com. You can also find one of their dealers. And you can find more Motorhead Garage presented by DragonFireTools.com right after this, so stay tuned. Motorhead Garage presented by DragonFireTools.com is brought to you by AMSOIL. the first in synthetics. Shade Wagon, throw some shade. And by DragonFireTools.com, industrial workbenches with integrated tool storage. Motorhead Garage is presented by DragonFireTools.com. Now look, Motorheads, whether you have a high-end car like a Porsche, just a simple daily driver, you worked hard for your car and you want to hold on to it. So we know that car thefts are up, carjackings are up. Well, for 40 years, LoJack has been the solution for that. The police can track your car, they can recover your vehicle, but LoJack has changed in the past few years. It's been evolving, and we've got Bruce here from VG Motors. Now, Bruce, how has LoJack evolved and changed?
Yeah, so the classic LoJack system, the way that worked is that the LoJack device had to connect and ping off radio towers, and then there had to be a transmitter in a police cruiser to go and recover the vehicle. And in 2021, there was a business acquisition that occurred, and when that acquisition happened, the technology completely changed. So instead of running off of radio towers, it's entirely GPS driven. It's just run by an app that's installed on your smartphone. So the way it works, the LoJack device gets installed in your vehicle, you download an app, you're good to go. You can see the trip history, you can see the real-time location 24 hours, you can put geofences around the vehicle to see when the vehicle enters or exits specific areas of interest, and there's all sorts of other features too.
So you said you put a geofence just around your house.
Correct, yeah, I've got a geofence around my house. I just leave it on all the time. Every time I pull out of my driveway, I get an alert that pops up on my phone that says, hey, your vehicle left your geofence. And if your vehicle is stolen, you get an alert like that and you're not driving it. And you can just open up the app. There's a big red button in there that says tap to start report. You hit that button and there's instructions there that tell you what to do. Call the police, report it stolen, you get a case number, and then you give that case number to LoJack, and LoJack actually operates on your behalf to recover your vehicle. With LoJack, there's a 26-minute recovery time on average after the vehicle has been reported stolen, and they have a 98% recovery rate, so it's pretty sweet.
It's incredible. We'll get to the details of that. But also, LoJack isn't just tracking and retrieval now. There's so many new features because of the GPS capabilities in the app and that sort of thing. So what are some of the new things people may not know about?
There's also battery voltage monitoring. So if you leave your lights on or something like that, you'll get an alert on your phone that says, hey, your battery voltage is dropping, go check your vehicle. There's driving behavior reports, so you can see the trip history, where the vehicle went, where it stopped, how long it was there. If you've got teenagers, you can put speed thresholds on there too. So if you say, like for instance, if you put a 70-mile-an-hour speed threshold, if the vehicle goes above that, you get an alert on your phone. Now, it won't stop the vehicle from going over that speed threshold. It's not a speed governor or anything like that, but it does alert you if that happens. There's also a digital glove box that has all of your vehicle information in there, so you can give the police that info if your vehicle is stolen, so your VIN, your make, your model, your color, the mileage. There's recall notifications as well, 24/7 real-time tracking. But yeah, those are the main ones.
And we wanted to show you what a LoJack unit looks like, and Bruce told us, Bruce gave us this. He said it's a highly guarded secret. That's it. That's all we can show you. Nobody knows what it looks like. Nobody knows where it goes on the vehicle.
That's it. Yeah, exactly. So for security purposes, obviously, we don't want to put this information out there, where it's installed, what it looks like. There's over 20 different locations on the vehicle where it can be installed, and we don't want carjackers to know exactly where to look for these things. So we also offer decoy devices too that gets installed on top of the actual LoJack system. So you can, the decoy device is optional. It's not required for the system to function, but it's an additional feature that we offer, just so if somebody tries to boost your car, they find the decoy, rip it out, and they think they've disabled the system.
So how does the LoJack service work? Is it a monthly thing, or how do we pay for it?
Yeah, so we offer 3 different options. On our website, you can get LoJack for 3 years, 5 years, or 7 years. It's a one-time payment up front. There's no subscription costs, there's no recurring fees. It includes installation. We use a network of over 400 installers nationwide. When you place your order with us, the installer will bring the device with them, so you don't actually get anything shipped. The installer brings the device with them and they install it in your vehicle. It takes about 30-40 minutes. We cover the entire US, so you don't have to bring your car anywhere. We come to you and the installer will install it in your vehicle.
How long does it typically take from when I order it to when I actually have it on the car?
On average, about 5 days. Kind of depends on the installer availability in your area, how many installs they already have going on. Usually if you live by a bigger city, it's a little faster rather than out in the middle of nowhere. But on average, about 5 days.
Bruce, you mentioned that LoJack has a 98% recovery rate. What if you fall into that 2% and they can't locate your car?
Yeah, so there's a financial guarantee that comes with LoJack. So it's a $5,000 financial guarantee. The way that works is if your vehicle is stolen and it has LoJack in it and it's not recovered within 30 days, then LoJack will pay up to $5,000 or the value of the vehicle, whichever is less. So that usually covers the deductible, but obviously it's not going to cover the total value of the vehicle. If you get LoJack, you definitely want to check with your insurance provider because most of them offer a discount. The amount depends on the provider, but most of them will offer some kind of discount on your insurance premium.
VG Motors offers the LoJack system. It is the place to go. VGMotorsDirect.com is the website. And of course, if you enter the promo code Motorhead50, you get $50 off your purchase. Motorhead Garage presented by DragonFireTools.com will return, so please stay tuned.
Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com, coming to you from the Shade Wagon Studio.
You ever get a clicking noise when you turn your vehicle to the right or left? You may have a bad CV axle. Welcome to this AMSOIL Tech Tip. We're talking about CV axles or constant velocity joints. We need to understand everything about them. You can see it right there on the screen. The inboard joint, well, that's the plunge joint. The outboard joint, that's actually fixed. We'll look at that in a second. But you can see the inboard there. You can have a tripod, double offset, cross groove, all kinds of cool stuff going on. But better yet, I have it right here on the table for you. This is actually the outboard joint right here. This is going to be connected to the wheel. So what's happening when I turn to the right or left, you see all these bearings in there and all this? All need different lubrications. I can turn out there. Now this inner joint right here, this is actually the plunge joint. This is going to move in and out. Now why do we want to move in and out? Because our suspension has to move up and down. So when we move up and down, it's got to be able to move and turn a bit. So both of those need good lubrication. If it actually comes apart and it loses its lubrication, that's why you're getting that clicking noise. So I can show you right here. Just drive along, turn to the right or to the left, and you hear a clicking or a ticking noise coming down from your axles. You feel like it's one or the other. Then you want to go down and do a good visual inspection. How do you do that? Well, you just look at them. Take the boots, make sure they're not torn. Pull on the joints, wiggle up and down, make sure there's no play or no slop in between those bearings. Turn your wheel fully to the right or to the left. Do a good visual inspection. What are you looking for? Well, a torn boot like that, all the grease is going to come out. You're going to have a massive problem. Dirt's going to come up there. It's going to eat the bearings. There's a lot going on with the drivetrain. They take a lot of abuse. We need some good lubrication.
That's correct. Especially, you get into the power levels that some of these vehicles are achieving now. And then some of the things people are asking them to do, the loads on the drivetrain are crazy. So the differentials, the transmissions, it all requires really good lubrication. Our Gear Lube is some of the best stuff that you can possibly get. We spend a ton of time testing it, and we concentrate on what's really going on inside. Let's say a differential, because that would be considered your worst case scenario. There's a lot of wiping action that goes on in there, which requires some special additives that will make sure that it's protected. It's called an EP additive. Our Gear Lubes are fortified with those, top tier base oils, all of the good stuff that you need to make sure that that thing is protected.
Yeah, we're putting a lot of horsepower to the ground. They take up a lot of abuse, but I love the packaging as well, Len. Where can I find this cool packaging where I could fill it without a mess, along with some transmission fluid that does just that?
Yeah, you can find all of our drivetrain products and that cool packaging at amsoil.com.
My name's Tom Cloud. This is my 67 Avanti 2. Well, it's a 1967 Avanti 2, and I've had this car about 7 years. It's one of 66 that were built that year, and I stumbled across this car, believe it or not, on Craigslist. So I put a deposit on it without even looking at it. I've always liked the cars since I was a kid. There used to be one when I was growing up that had the back deck lid punched in on it. I always drove past it and I always loved the car. I tried to buy that one several times. So I've always had a thing for them. The fact that they're just so unique.
What did it feel like when you finally got to own one?
I have a picture of me when we had it on the trail. I was hugging the thing. So it was kind of a lifelong goal to finally get one. We had to go through the brakes. It had some electrical problems. The windows didn't work. And then also I had to go through the cooling systems and the oil and tune it up. We get double head turns usually. Most people don't know what it is. Some people do. And I had a fellow walk up here this afternoon and just say, "This was my lifelong dream just to see one of these things." He said, "I've never seen one before."
Where'd you get the rubber seals when you were restoring the car?
We found them at Steel Rubbers. Sometimes it's a little harder to close the doors until they break in, but generally it's a lot quieter and not leaking like they would, with the originals. So they're a car that's like real polarizing. You either love them or you hate them. So I always loved them.
Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com. Industrial workbenches with integrated tool storage. And brought to you by PaintedAutoBodyParts.com, the leading U.S. auto body parts online store. The Fuel Guys at Performance Fuel Specialists, changing the way you treat your fuel. And by Steel Rubber. Get your ride sealed with steel.
This is Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com, and this is a cell phone. Of course, we all have them, and you're a Motorhead, so I know you love to be in your car. So what do you do with your phone when you're in your car? You've got a lot of options, right? You can put it on the magnet on the dash. That's on your vent. It's going to block your vent in the summertime. That's a bad deal. In the wintertime, it's going to fry your phone. And you can put it in your cup holder. You can put it on your lap. But of course, you're going to drive it. It's going to fall into the crack there, and you'll never see it again. And half of the states, Scott, in the union don't allow you to hold it in your hand anyway, and that's a bad idea. So what's my solution? What can I do?
So you put it in a cell phone seat. Cell phone seat is the newest device on the market. It is a single piece of plastic that's got a flexible base. All you got to do is flex this and pop it in your cup holder and release it. It's going to lock in there, and then guess what? Now you're legally hands-free. You can just drop your phone in there like that. You can also go horizontal. You got power cord access here, and here's the best part. Cell phone seat does not block your cup holder. You still have room for your drink.
Whoa, that is cool. And it's so simple. Why didn't somebody think of this before?
I don't know. It was exactly the same with me. I was driving in my neighborhood in my truck. I threw my phone in my cup holder like most people do, and it landed in some kind of a goo, from my kid's squeeze pack. And I pulled my phone out, and I was kind of annoyed, and I thought, why isn't there a better solution? And kind of this idea popped in my head, and I went home to look for it. You go home and you look online, and I was like, this has to exist. It didn't exist. I couldn't figure out why. So I decided to draw it out, much to my wife's dismay, as she's looking over my shoulder saying, what are you doing? What are you doing? I was like, I got an idea. So I drew it out. I found actually a designer that could do 3D AutoCAD type designs, and we 3D printed them just to test it out. And I got the first one I remember that was 3D printed, and it was huge. It was like this big. And the guy that was kind of helping me with the designs felt bad. He's like, I messed it up, it's too big. I was like, no, send it, let me see it. I need to know if this works. Sure enough, I put the big one in my cup holder. Even though it was giant, it worked perfectly. So we kept going, and as you can see now, we have the final version. It took about 6 years to actually get this just right, but now we have a universal cell phone mount that fits in about 90% of vehicle cup holders, holds pretty much any phone, phones with cases, any type of phone, phones with accessories, pop sockets, loopies, doopies, sloopies, whatever you got. This one simple device is going to work for most everything.
What are some of the little extras you put a lot of thought into to keep the phone in place there?
Sure. So the first thing we did was we cut out these side slots here, and that's going to allow you to put your phone in there horizontal. Interestingly enough, it also works with tablets in that horizontal slot. We put this in my son's cup holder on his car seat, and he can put his iPad in there for long road trips. We put a flexible tab here that's going to put a little pressure on the phone, so it's going to hold phones in there, phones without cases, smaller phones, it's going to hold those in a little bit tighter. And then it also can flex back when you have bigger cases like this. This is an iPhone 14 Pro with a wallet on it. It's going to be able to flex back and hold those in there as well. Those bigger cases with OtterBox cases, it's going to be able to push that tab back and hold that in as well. We have power cord access here, so obviously people want to be able to charge their phone in the car. And I like the fact that this sits in your cup holder. Your power cord is staying down here to the side. A lot of newer cars have those flexible tabs in their cup holders, or those rubber kind of squares. So we cut the slots out here to allow those tabs to go right in there, and they work great. It's so fun to put this in when you have those spring-loaded tabs and hear it just click in place like it's meant for it. But that doesn't mean that you need those tabs. It's going to work with cup holders without the tabs or without the rubber things as well. It's going to work in a lot of different cup holder styles, as long as they're between about 2.5 to 4 inches in round, which pretty much
most of them are, right?
Most of them are.
You put so much thought into the design, How much thought did you put into the materials that you're using as well?
We talked about doing, different types of plastics. We talked about doing different types of materials like rubber. We landed on ABS plastic, which is the same thing that Legos are made out of. It's a very non-toxic, safe plastic, right? Because kids play with it. And if you've ever stepped on a Lego in the middle of the night, you know how strong ABS plastic is.
Guilty as charged.
This is a very strong, well-made device. It's going to work in extreme heat. It's going to work in, extreme cold. It's a very universal material.
It's a veteran-owned company. The product is made in America, and this is going to make things a lot safer and more convenient for you when you're behind the wheel. It is called the cell phone seat. You can find it at cellphoneseat.com. Our paintedautoparts.com Motorheads of the Week are Les Barkley and his wife Pam. Now, Les tells me that he started really making cars, if you will, back when he was 10 years old. He and his buddy Randy Miller made a go-kart out of scrap lumber. They eventually put a motor on it from a washing machine. He said that thing would go 20 miles an hour. It felt like they were doing 200, and I bet it did. Well, Les is still having a great time with cars. On the weekends, you're likely to find Les and his wife Pam at a car show with their 48 Chevy 5-window pickup. This thing is special. Now, Les bought it back in 2016, and back then the floor and the cab corners were all rusted out. The thing smoked, it leaked oil, and the drive shaft vibrated so much that Les couldn't get it over 40 miles an hour. Well, Les stripped the truck down to the frame and brought it back to life. In fact, you might say it's larger than life now. It's called Old School, and it's the hit of every single show they enter. Now, that's not a fake finish on the truck. It's all original, and a sign on the truck says, "Please touch." It adds to the patina. Les says he and Pam love nothing more than letting kids climb inside, honk the horn, and pretend they're driving the truck. That is why they are the paintedautoparts.com Motorheads of the Week. If you or someone you know should be Motorhead of the Week, send us a note at motorheadgarage.tv and tell us your story. We'll return next week with more Motorhead Garage presented by DragonFireTools.com. We'll see you in a few days. Until then, drive safely.